Yeah, I've never won for the spotlight. Even like doing this, like I was a little bit nervous about it, but yeah, that
I was laughing so funny.
Yeah, bro, that was so funny.
The comments,
there were some thirsty women in the comments, bro.
It was so.
I knew so many of them too. I'm like, oh my god, like what's wrong with you guys?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no.
You can arrest me.
Yeah, goodness.
Yeah, like literally in my first week, in training on the street, that's when we had Ashley Hunter murder that kid up at NDSU.
Oh shit!
That was literally one of the first calls I walk into.
What was that? I don't remember.
Basically, he had stabbed someone prior to that, and he was kind of on the run.
His name is Ashley.
Ashley Hunter. Yep. And he went to this kid's back door and knocked on the door and asked for a glass of water. In his mind, you know, he's all methed out. Things were taking too long, and he literally grabbed a hammer and just bashed this kid's brains in.
Whoa!
And then he tried to start the house on fire. Like, there was
It's intriguing to watch them. Yeah.
There's another 4 to 5 year old kid. He had taught himself Russian.
Yeah.
We bought him like a puzzle, and like he could figure out like all the numbers, letters.
Yeah,
then there's another kid that points to every car in the parking lot. They know the year, the make, the model. It's insane.
God,
like,
that's so.
It's so cool.
It's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
It is.
There's a kid that I know. I won't say where he's from, but one of the schools scored like a freaking 98 on the ASVAB.
Damn.
Yeah, like almost a perfect score on the ASVAB.
That's crazy.
And he's just very autistic, but clearly a genius.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's get it. Welcome back to another episode of Ill Eagle Culture Brands Red Tape Talk. I'm your host, John Ostos, aka Ill Eagle CEO, and I'm here with my two counterparts, Dion, Two Cup Larry, and Cody, Big Meat Mauk. What's going on, fellas?
What's happening?
Just living the life.
Yeah. And today we got another special guest. I think this is probably one of our most special guests as of lately. Mike, I think they call him Officer McHottie. AKA
Sexy Mike.
Mike Anderson. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, privileged to be here.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming on and letting us have some fun with you, man. So
thank you.
How's life been going so far, man? Since your debut as one of People Magazine's hottest police officers.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that phase is kind of over, man. No, life's been good. I got 2 girls and just been working on being a better parent. Been working at really embracing the fatherhood and the adult life. So
that's awesome.
Good.
So you want to tell people like how that picture came so viral?
Oh, absolutely. So so basically I try every chance I can to pick up like any overtime I can. And the parades are like easy overtime. So
sure.
I was just going to work the parade. It was like I think it was St. Patty's Day or something.
Last year.
Yeah. And all I was doing was throwing out candy, and you just see how tired I am. I woke up my kids at 4:30 that morning. I'm just like sleeping. Yeah, all of a sudden that picture just started blowing up on social media. And then my wife starts chiming in the comments. And
that was the funniest stuff.
It got out of control.
What did she say?
It was funny because she would be like commenting. She'd be like, "Oh yeah, he sure is a good looking guy," or something like that. Or like, his wife must be so lucky, and all this comments, bro. It was funny, man.
Oh yeah, that got out of control.
She was a good spirit about it though, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never won for the spotlight. Even like doing this, like I was a little bit nervous about it, but yeah, that
I was laughing so funny.
Yeah, bro, that was so funny.
The comments,
there were some thirsty women in the comments, bro.
It was so.
I knew so many of them too. I'm like, oh my god, like what's wrong with you guys?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no.
You can arrest me.
Yeah, goodness.
No worries there. Me and my wife been together for 17 years, so that wasn't.
That's awesome.
It was a lot of fun messages people were sending me, just giving me crap the whole time. So
that's good stuff. I bet you got bombarded, man.
Oh, I did.
Did you have anybody take it more serious and try to actually like get in the DMs or anything?
I don't think I got a lot of friend requests after that.
Okay.
After people tagged some of my profiles, but no, I never got in the DMs or anything that.
I saw it almost happen again recently. There was another photo that came out from maybe another parade more recently.
Yeah, it was again.
The
St. Patty's Day parade.
Yeah. And they started commenting on it again.
Yeah, I know. It's too easy, man. The overtime, I try to pick up wherever we can. So we're a single income family, so any overtime I can get, I work it.
So. Your wife's like, nah, we don't need no more overtime.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hell yeah, man. So let's get a little background on you, man. What do you do right now as far as working in the police department or whatnot?
Yeah, so I started at the Fargo Police Department in 2015. So I've been there for 10 years now.
What got you started? Like, what made you want to join the police department?
It's kind of funny, honest story. So like out of high school, I was only going to go in the military. That was my only plan. Like my whole family's military. Got to MEPS and had some medical stuff. Like got disqualified. I was born with asthma and can't really hide that stuff when you go to MEPS. So that didn't work out. And my grandpa, who was pretty much my father figure my whole life, he was a police officer for 20 some years. So yeah, he kind of talked to me about it and he inspired me a lot. So that's what kind of made me go around here. I did a couple ride-alongs with different departments trying to figure it out. Went to Minneapolis. That definitely wasn't my taste. I was going to be a cop in Minnesota somewhere, and then Fargo was hiring. It was hard to get jobs, so I got in a room with like 70 people and applied, and luckily got in. So
really?
Yeah.
Awesome. What year was that?
2015. Yep.
Okay. So you're going on 10 years now, huh?
Yep.
You're trying to beat your grandpa's record then?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm aiming for like 30 if I can.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 33.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So you started when you were 23?
Yeah, 23. Still a kid. Yeah.
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 It's crazy.
Yeah. No, currently I'm a sergeant up in investigations. I run the property and adult sex crimes unit, and then my secondary assignment is SWAT. So
Nice.
yeah.
So did you try to become a detective or something like that at one point?
Yeah, I was a detective before I got promoted. So back in 2020, I was a detective for like 14 months before I got promoted to sergeant.
Okay.
So
That's interesting. So to become a detective, you obviously have to apply for the position.
Yep.
Right? Is there certain criteria that you need to meet to become a detective? Did they give you like a scenario that you have to like solve clues to, or something like that?
So basically they want to go off like your work that you've been doing. So you take a good thorough case that you've done from like start to finish, and kind of a panel reviews it, and then they ask you, some interview questions about, what's your philosophy on like team, and like how are you proactive in your position? How do you handle conflict with your coworkers, like different things like that. And you go through a panel interview, and then once it's scored, they kind of place you and number you, and then however many spots, they'll keep a list for like a year or two, and then if you got a spot open, you can go up.
Oh, wow. Okay. So when you were just regular a street cop, is there anything like specific that stands out for you during that time period?
Oh man, there was a lot of things.
In Fargo here?
Yeah. I guess the biggest thing coming from a small town was just like, I know some people like Fargo, some people still think it's a small town depending on where you live, but it was just night shift really opened my eyes. Like I had a very small worldview, I was kind of naive, thought everything was fine. Then I go to night shift and it's like, dang, like you get called like stabbing, shootings, like all these crazy things that like I had no idea that was happening. Like
did you get that right away when you were 23?
Yeah.
Did that freak you out?
It did, yeah. So I started May of 2015, and then our training program it's roughly like 4 to 5 months depending on how long it takes you. And then once I got the training program, right away I got put on evenings, and Jason Mosier was one of my evening shift guys. And then all of a sudden in February he gets shot in the head, and it was just kind of like a holy crap moment, man. Like I thought Fargo was like super safe, like that stuff doesn't happen. It was eye opening. I kind of had a point like at that early in my career, I was like, is this something I really want to do? So
wow.
Would you say you've seen like an uptick, especially like around COVID time? Obviously going 5 years in, like did you see it get worse during COVID and then get better now, or is it kind of steadily going up with the population growth, or what would you say?
Population growth brings us problems too, and just like kind of where the world is with just like family and culture and like discipline and consequences. You got these young kids, man, like they don't care. Like we have kids like shooting at each other. We're like 15 years old, and it's like no big deal. It's
a different breed right
now. It is,
yeah. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it's just especially kids that like they don't really fear consequences anymore. It's a different environment now. Yeah,
they don't fear them till they face them.
Exactly,
and then they just buckle down and become kids all of a sudden again.
Yep.
They're crying in court. They're scared. It's just like, damn. All that with a gun in your hand, and now look at you.
Exactly.
It's crazy, man.
It's weird when it doesn't feel like real life to them. It seems like.
I think that's part of like social media, man, is creating like a false reality for people.
Mm-hmm.
They don't view this world as the real world anymore. Everything is social media driven. So it's almost like they have this blank space in their brain that allows them to just not care about what goes on here. Everything's for social media, for the internet, and we're all like not real. It's unrealistic here, and so it's such a strange
they've never
generation.
they've never faced consequences, and then when they act on something, and then they're faced with consequences, and then the world just starts falling apart. For them, and that's when they buckle. Like, oh shit.
Yep.
I really fucked up here.
I got to work 40 hours a week. This is bullshit.
I mean, it's crazy too. It's just like the friend groups they run with, man. I mean, like we were all kids, we did dumb stuff, but it's like, especially like you talked about social media and stuff now, like you got your friends hyping you up to go do dumb stuff. And then all of a sudden you face the real world now. And it's an issue. So
it's a weird badge of honor that, you know, these youngsters are wearing now to be getting in trouble, to be dealing with the police, to like, be with these wannabe, especially around here. Like I don't see where the gang activity comes from in these kids. Like where did they get the impression? Where did they get the influence other than music and you know, TV and shit? Because it doesn't live here like that. There's no real gangs like out here in the streets banging on each other. There's just a bunch of wannabes pretending, and none of them were raised to be that way. As far as you can tell in our community, it doesn't look that way.
Yeah, and it's interesting with that too that you say that, because I mean, I feel like gang culture's changed a lot. Like with gangs, I mean, it used to be there was like sets, loyalty, rules, and now it's just kind of like these hybrid gangs where kids like
they're thugs now.
They want to be about the gang life, but then like there's no set structure, so there's no people to like correct them if they aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's just there's
no chain of command. There's no ranking. There's
boundaries.
None of it. Like, you know, at least back back home, it was like you had the OGs, then you had peewees, and they had rules, and you know the peewees had to put in certain type of work, and you know become official. You had to be initiated, jumped in, whatever. Now it's just like these guys are just claiming whatever they want. No one's ever given them, you know, the right to do it. No one put them on. None of that stuff. They're just out here falsifying their entire existence as some kind of street gang member. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like they just, you know, some kids just like lash out to get clout, and then that all changes when they all of a sudden get stuck by themselves at like detention or whatever, and your friends aren't there for you, you know. And it's it's interesting.
Yeah.
Are you called out to the schools at all?
Oh, we have SROs in the schools, but if something gets bad enough, like they'll call like the patrol guys in the street to come help with it. So the SROs do a great job. Like that's not a job like I specialize in, but they do excellent work with really trying to like mentor and get relationships with these kids. Cause like, obviously when kids act out, like besides social media stuff, like there's stuff going on at home usually, or they got some messed up stuff in their life. So the SROs do like a great job of making those relationships, even with like the tough kids that like hate police. They'll still talk to their SRO and be like, hey man, like I was upset.
They respect those guys.
Yeah,
they do.
I have been in pretty much every high school here, and I watched those guys, and they respect the hell out of those guys because they don't take any shit.
Yeah, no, they're do.
Not they're not there to educate. They're there to, or I shouldn't say that. These kids will respect them because they know that they come from authority, and they need somebody like that in the school because these teachers have their hands tied behind their backs.
100%.
They're not allowed to do what they should be doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like they can't even fucking go and break up a fight. Like they're not supposed to go up and break up a fight.
It was like crazy because when I was in high school, we had the SSROs, right? Yeah.
Yeah, school resource officers. Yep.
And they would stop so many fights, or a fight would happen, and usually it was a lot of girl fights, unfortunately. But they just grabbed one of the girls and boom, she snatched. The fight's over. Everyone's like, oh, and people they really respected those officers. Like they were friendly with them outside of them fighting, you know. And I remember a couple years ago when Moorhead said they were going to take them out of the schools, and people at the middle school, especially where it's probably one of the most difficult schools that you can be in is the Horizon Middle School. They were really frustrated.
Yeah.
Like, especially the teachers, the parents. I mean, we talked about it because your kids went to Horizon. So it was like, that was really a scary time.
Yeah.
Parker came home with fight videos in his phone, like all the damn time from school. I'm like, this shit goes on this consistent at school. Like, who's stopping this stuff? And he's like, teachers are scared to.
Yeah, Horizon has and always will be, I'm sure, somewhere where a lot of fights happen for some reason. I don't know why.
Isn't that fucking crazy that you're literally separated by a river, and the politics are that different from one side to another?
Yeah,
that's what it boiled down to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's insane. I mean, like we've been called multiple times. Like typically as a supervisor, like when I was on the street, I go to like the more high risk or high liability calls, and even like kids like freaking out like that. Like we get called to the school and all the teachers are doing like holding pads while this kid's like flipping a classroom, destroying stuff, and like, yeah, they aren't scared and they don't feel like they have consequences, or they're just lashing out because of whatever behavior or stuff they dealt with that day at home, and it's just insane, And then we have to come in there and kind of take like a parenting role and just try to get them to calm down, because I mean, it's never a good look to like grab a kid and slam him on the floor. Like you're trying the most to like de-escalate and just really talk to him and just get him calmed down. So
yeah, I feel like it's a top behavior by the as a consequence of whatever new rules get implemented. You know, like now kids know teachers can't touch them. They'll get in trouble. You know, they know they could sue, all this stuff. You know, it's like the same thing they do with police when they think they know something. Like, oh, I know the law, and you can't ask me that, and I don't have to show you my ID, and give me your badge number. It's like just copycat shit that's kind of top behavior. And so now you just have a whole generation of these new youngsters that think they know everything and that they can get away with whatever they want because they understand the consequences aren't actually there like they used to, which is really weird that we removed a lot of the consequences like that. Because man, I remember in high school we had undercovers in our, I was in California though, but we had undercovers, we had metal detectors, we had fucking police dogs walking campus. Like you couldn't get away with shit.
That's wild.
If there was fights, man, like cops would come out of the woodworks, bro. We were just like, we didn't even know these dudes were cops, like
that's crazy.
Yeah, I just ran a lick with this dude last week and today he's arresting someone. Like what the fuck? It's crazy. Wild. But yeah, it's such a different society out here. So I always trip out on like, all these thugs and gangsters here, and it's just like I don't get where it comes from, because I know there's a process to really be a part of gangs, and
and these that's guys the thing. Run like, free. You get a couple of legit guys that move through the area just on like business stuff, but they aren't really staying here. So.
Right. Yeah, I heard back in the day. I talked to we got a lot of cops that train at the gym, and I've talked to them in the past, and I remember them telling me that at one point that there was a really big like I don't know if it was cartels or just Latin Kings and stuff were here, and there was like one big dude here that was like a really well-known guy, and talked to cops, and he would tell them like, yeah, there's something big coming here, like there's a lot of activity right now and stuff. And I just remember tripping like, damn, how do they even move around here without being caught? Because you would stand out so easily.
Yeah, it's tough because Fargo's it's become kind of a hub to the west now. Like we get a lot of stuff that moves from like Chicago to Minneapolis up to Fargo, and then it all kind of goes out west or up north from there. So
it's the gateway to the west, they say, right?
Exactly.
Who was telling us about that?
Kyle? Am I thinking of the right guy?
No, dude, he had a dog.
Brock.
I was like, Brock. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Brock.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about back in the day when we had the combo.
I feel like we just talked about.
Yeah, we had Brock on the show.
Talk about that.
So yeah. So you guys see a lot of that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we get the stuff that moves up here. Like our last couple hits. I mean, we had some different like cartel people and stuff like that on SWAT that we were dealing with. So yeah. Not to like freak out the community. Yeah,
what is so what is the purpose there? They're moving the product up here to distribute, or is it just kind of a highway to somewhere else?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, in the drug world, it just seems like things just kind of move through Fargo, or people come here as like a pickup point and drop off point.
So it can either be going from west to east or east to west.
Yeah, either one. Yeah,
sure.
This is just where they're making the connections.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is like one of the known Mexican cartels, or is it kind of an unknown Mexican cartel along those lines?
I can't really answer that just because it's still going on right now. So
I was gonna say, he didn't even say it was a Mexican cartel. I don't think that was. John.
We just assume cartel. And
it
could be. I mean, it could be Colombian. It could be Venezuelan. It could be, cartel is kind of everywhere. It doesn't have to be just Mexican.
Yeah, usually when we get brief,
John did say Mexican cartel. He brought it up. That's where I got it out. Yeah,
I mean those are just putting two and two together. Yeah, but typically they'll let us know like kind of who we're dealing with on these warrants and like where they come from. And
so with like President Trump being so like hammering down on cartel and fentanyl and stuff, do you guys see any of that like? Any more teeth as far as like getting these guys?
Do you have like more ability in the sense of getting them and booking them for longer, or?
So yeah, typically for us, like we just kind of deal with like the local and like state charges. I mean, like our federal partners are awesome and like get us a lot of work with that. But Yeah, our federal prosecutors do more of that work with like if they're gonna involve like ICE or anything like that. So
That's pretty. Have you guys had any ICE raids around here?
I heard there was like some traffic stop or whatever where they got like 7 people detained a couple of weeks ago. I saw that was in the paper, but
they were known wanted guys, or at least one of them was. It was in the paper the other day too. Yeah. But they busted them, and when they pulled them over, and I think they took one guy was federally wanted or something like that.
They knew it, right. Yeah. They knew it was him, or like they did a traffic violation. It didn't say very clearly.
Yeah,
it
wasn't.
In the news,
it wasn't very clearly.
He was a Maryland dad.
yeah. You guys don't get, like, as far as the police department goes, I understand there's not a very good relationship with like the local news for the most part, huh? Because they kind of just manipulate and BS the stories and always try to make the cops look bad. Well, no, but like I've heard this before from people. They said, like, as far as police department goes, they don't like to talk to the news. They don't really have a good relationship because the news likes to just throw shit out there, information they shouldn't throw out, or they kind of slander the police department and like to make them look like the bad guys a lot.
Well,
of
if
stuff.
you watch all of the headlines and how they word it, all of them, like WDA Live, Valley News Live, you know which way they lean.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
yeah. You could tell.
Blatant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And just due to some issues with just like, accuracy and stuff in different stories, like I'm not throwing any reporters, like maybe some of it wasn't intentional, maybe some of it was, but yeah, they started our public information officer section. You saw probably in the papers that got a lot of flack over the last couple of years just because we have a lot of people and they do like a lot of good work and just make sure we share the facts of what we have at the time, and that's what gets rolled out. And I understand, like, news wants to get like a good story, and they want stuff, so they're always like
fear mongering too.
Yeah, and they're just trying to like inquire more, and it's just our public information team does a really good job of just getting them what they need.
Nice.
And I understand their frustration because your news, like, you want to get the headline, you want everyone watching your channel. I get it.
But I think in today's age, it is the most important thing is to get accurate information, whether it's a good story or not.
Yes,
they have to be accurate because people are they're gonna take that and run with it.
Oh, 100%.
And then if you get proven that you're discreditable, then you're gonna be another fake news, fake phony, fake.
Yeah.
But one thing, credit to Jesse Johnner. This has been a few years now, from what I've noticed, that they'll share all of their Facebook, like their traffic stops on Facebook and stuff, or whatever they do, not traffic stops, but any serious like incidences. They'll explain exactly what's going on, and
they're reporting their own news basically.
Basically doing their own news report.
If you can handle reading a little bit, the Facebook Fargo Police Department is very informative in that. But you have to read it. So
they're always pumping out stories, content, all that stuff. Yeah, they're all over that. So
is that what you're talking about with like their own news department?
So our public information officers, like we have kind of the guy who's in charge of it all, and then we got quite a few people at the police department that they'll ask about certain stories or get information, then we just give them like the base information. They'll let the public know about it. So because obviously we want everyone to see like what we're doing, but there's just some things you can't share at the time because we got current investigations going and stuff like that.
So did you say the public information officer?
Yep.
So is he a uniformed officer that just works at
No. It's like
is he like a civilian?
They're like basically like the communications and government affairs team of Fargo.
Gotcha.
It's kind of spread across all departments, but specifically for police.
It's like a PR team.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Gotcha. So in your previous 10 years or so, we asked like if there was something like specific that you can remember, like anything crazy that happened. Did anything crazy happen during your tenure before you were a detective? We'll get into that. Yeah. But regular street cop shit.
Like literally in my first week in training on the street, that's when we had Ashley Hunter murder that kid up at NDSU.
Oh shit.
That was literally one of the first calls I walk into.
What was that? I don't remember.
Basically he had stabbed someone prior to that and he was kind of on the run.
His name is Ashley?
Ashley Hunter, yep. And he went to this kid's back door and knocked on the door and asked for a glass of water. In his mind, he's all methed out. Things were taking too long, and he literally grabbed a hammer and just bashed this kid's brains in.
Whoa.
And then he tried to start the house on fire. This case is done, obviously, so I can talk about it. But so like I show up as a brand new recruit, like I just want to help people. And then I walk in and it's just a floor covered with blood and like blood all over the place, and it's like,
holy shit, you got to see that right away.
Yeah. It's just like one of the first things you find out, and then like all night I'm brand new, and they just put me on like crime scene roster in the front, signing people in. I don't know like anyone's names, and I'm just like trying to just digest what I saw.
Yeah.
'Cause like you see the movies and stuff, like blood's blood, whatever, but then like you go in there and smell it, and you see that that's a person, and you just see all that, and it's just something I wasn't ready for
in your
right
first
out the gate.
couple weeks.
Yeah, literally like right out the
that's
gate.
insane.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still a damn puppy at
Yeah.
23
You are, yeah,
too,
yeah.
man. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way you're prepared for that mentally.
Yeah.
So
That's
you showed up
crazy.
to that place and that guy was already gone?
Yeah, he was already gone. Yep. We just got called because someone thought they saw like flames in the house, and they thought it was just a house fire. And then the first 2 officers showed up, and I was like number 3 or 4, and that's what was in there. Yeah.
And
No,
then-
Like, was there smoke on the scene or anything when you got there? Or no, everything was
I mean, it was a little smoky in there. He had just like,
lit. Something.
I think he like lit like a towel or something on fire on the counter, but it was like on the metal part of the sink, so it didn't burn anything.
How long after until he got caught?
Funny story about that. Yeah, I'm like sitting out doing crime roster, and I had been out all night, and it was like 7:30 or 8 in the morning. I was getting ready to go home, and then I hear over the radio that there's like a suspicious person. It's literally in the house right on the backside of this house in this entryway.
What?
He was literally hiding right in there. Yeah.
Just behind the house?
Yep.
Wow.
Oh
yeah.
goodness!
And he was methed out?
Yeah. Yep.
What an idiot.
Yeah. It was a wild call, kind of a wild welcoming to the Fargo Police Department. So.
I'd say.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, you never expect to join the police department in Fargo, and then that's like
Yeah.
the first big
Something
thing you see. You're thinking
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna write a lot of tickets and a lot of
Exact-
traffic violation stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you show up to a bloody scene.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah, it was kind of that was like my first big eye opening experience. And obviously, when Jason got killed, that was kind of the next big thing.
Yeah.
That was in 2016, right?
Yep, 2016. Yep.
February.
Yep.
So that's only a year in, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
I got to ask you.
Yeah.
I got to make sure I get this kid's name right, though. Tommy Beerson.
Yes, that's correct.
yes.
So when Jason was on here, I got fucking sucked into the after we talked about it. I don't know if he left, and then I started thinking about it, and I was texting him trying to see what he thought about it, and then I got sucked into the rabbit hole with Tommy Beerson's case.
Mhm.
I know it's still ongoing, so you probably can't talk a lot about it, maybe. But what is your perspective of Tommy Beerson case? Do you know like a lot about it?
I do, but I can't. Yeah, I can't really talk about it, unfortunately. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So just speculating, after talking with some people, it sounds like that. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Sounds like the kids or the people that he was with more than likely took him out.
Yeah.
But why he ended up in fucking Moorhead, that's strange to me. Or his shit ended up in Moorhead, that's strange to me.
Yeah.
But it is still technically an open case.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to say if there's people still investigating it?
I believe it's still being investigated just because it's still open. But yeah, I can't really say much more besides that.
Yeah, that's just
so.
crazy. It's been
Mhm.
this long. There's no updates or anything like that.
Yeah, any homicide we have, like it literally stays open. Like
Does that go to the FBI because it was across state lines then, or
Yeah, I'm not sure what agency that's with right now.
Okay.
So I don't. It's not with ours, but yeah, I'm not sure who has that right now. But just like what we do at Fargo PD, like if there's any open homicide, like we got people still investigating stuff from like the 50s and the 80s and like just these random ones that were.
how does that work then? So if you get all these cases that are open,
Mhm.
like, and there's still people technically investigating, do they do a little at a time and then go to the next one and then come back to it, or how does that work?
Yeah, whatever measurable steps they can take. Like, I mean, now, DNA amplification is so much better. So now there's like stuff we can actually like send to the lab that they couldn't test back then. So
Oh.
it's just different items like that they'll kind of look. But yeah, we do like a case review so we can see like what's still open and what's not. And we kind of keep track on that. And then we work as a team to assign tasks out just to get those things done. But yeah, it's mostly just like DNA evidence and stuff at this point for those older cases.
Is there ever a point in time where you guys were like, we've done everything we can here, there's no, we can't do it, so we just got to close?
Yeah, that happens quite a bit. Yeah, you completely have done every investigative piece. Like you ran DNA, you did blood samples, you did all that. And like you aren't getting, because basically the way DNA works is like people have to have a DNA like on file from something from a prior crime. So yeah, if you run it and you get like a partial sample, or maybe the sample wasn't good enough for them to even get like a profile out of it, then sometimes you just reach the end of your investigative abilities at that point. So
Interesting.
Have you guys ever done any like what do they call it? Familial DNA, where like you have DNA on the scene, but you don't have someone else, the DNA profile, so you find the next closest match and try to track it that way.
If you have enough to actually get there and people are willing to give you DNA, yeah, that's something. But search warrant wise, I don't know if that'd quite get you to probable cause to write a search warrant to force someone to give their DNA. So yeah, it's just different nuances.
Yeah,
like
you
that
almost have
work.
to still investigate someone. Yeah.
Well,
So
that's how they caught the Golden State Killer.
Right. It's also, I don't know, I think I've told you guys the story of my cousin who was in my rap group with me. So back in 2007, I got a record deal with Cypress Hill. It was me, my brother, and my cousin. He was all my life. He's my mom's sister's son, you know, so we're a very close family. And we've always lived in, you know, like we lived next door to each other for a while, you know, like we always been around each other. And we would have never thought anything of this guy. And he was in our group. He lived here in Fargo with us for a while. And in 2012, I ended I left the group and I gave my life to God. All this, it's a long story there, but I left the group and they wanted to carry it on. And so they kind of kept doing their thing. Well, long story short, he ended up moving back to California in the summer of 2012. And then over that course of that entire summer, he was a chomo. He was going around, you know, like molesting little girls, breaking into their bedrooms, cutting their screens out and like doing stuff to them like that. But he would leave DNA, you know, specimens on the crime scenes, but they could never match it to anybody. So what they did was what they called a familial DNA, which in California, they said it had never really been done, you know, for a case like this. They found a closest match to it, which they determined because of how close, you know, it was, that it was either like a brother or a father. You know what I mean? So they found his dad, who's not related to my family, his mom is, but they found his dad who lived in like Northern California. And by identifying him, they were able to pinpoint that he had a son who lived in North County at the time. And so they started following him around and he didn't know he was being watched. And they almost caught him a couple of times like doing stuff. But because they were following him around, they ended up getting like a cigarette butt and like a soda can or something. And they were able to match his DNA to the DNA specimens that they found on the crime scenes. And they ended up dubbing him the North County Creeper and got him with 18 counts of like child molestation or whatever, and give him 100 years to life in prison.
Good.
But they used familial DNA to determine, you know, like who was the closest match, and does that person have someone within this area that they could, you know, investigate or basically look at. And they followed him around for a while until they finally got him.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's a crazy story, man.
We used to say the word chomo back in the day when I was like way younger,
Yeah.
like 12 years old. Never knew what that meant until
Really?
I just used it in that context. And I was like, dang, dude, that's crazy. We used to call each other that, and I didn't even know what that meant.
Jesus.
That's not good.
You're just all chomo. Yeah, that's not a good one, man.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's interesting.
That is
Familial DNA is I don't know why they don't use something like that more often. I don't know if there's some kind of legalities around when and how they can use it, but for California to report that was like one of the first times they had used something like that in such a high profile case. I thought that was weird because in California, I mean, you'd think there's a million reasons to do that.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. It's just, it always comes to the point, you know, just with, especially investigating the cases, you gotta get to a point where you can develop that probable cause for like different search warrants and stuff. Yeah. If you ain't going to get consent, it's sometimes tough.
Yeah.
So.
It sucks that the law has so much gray area like that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like you could know with great certainty who's guilty, but you still got to play the game of proving it. And, you know, it's just like when someone can get off and everyone knows that they're the person who did it, I think that's just so backwards.
Well, that's what's tough too these days. I mean, there's really good defense
I
attorneys
know.
that like you could have all the evidence, but man, when they can get that jury just to think of like a hiccup or something that like
Crazy.
maybe didn't happen. Yeah, it's crazy how many people get acquitted.
Even like turn certain evidence against the person too. Like
Yep.
I was just watching a new Netflix documentary about this woman killed her husband, and the dad was there. He's retired FBI, and dude, he clearly got his head bashed in their bedroom, and they claimed it was self-defense. You know what I mean? And so if you listen to the trial and everything, like these defense lawyers are freaking ruthless, man.
Oh, they are, yeah.
They
Trust
are
me.
savage.
It's no fun sitting up there getting cross-examined and all
Oh, I
that.
bet.
They just go after.
How do you? So when you're up there
Yeah.
on the stand and they're trying to fucking poke every hole that they can into your story, how do you keep calm and just collected?
That's part of the game. You can't you can't let them get under your skin. Like, it's the game they got to play. Like, I answer the questions that pertain to the case, and if they're just going after like a character thing, like, I'll answer it as general as I can. Or if they ask me, like, they'll pull like, you know, your records and be like,
so they get personal with you.
Yeah, they do it. I mean, it's part of the game. Like, it's all the show just for the courtroom. But yeah, you learn, like, when you do this job long enough, like, your skin gets so thick, dude. Like,
I bet.
And that's kind of the hard part with this job is like you get like so hard to all these things that, you know, people just coming at you, your personality, like different things like that, and just the emotion piece. Like, it's hard to turn that back on. Like, when you get home, like,
Yeah, it doesn't translate well
Dude,
at home. I bet. Yeah,
That's so crazy that you said that, because I've noticed that with cops that I've known for a while, that anything that comes up that's been like a serious thing in the news, they just kind of like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean?
yes,
That's crazy.
yeah. It gets so tough. Like, one of my saving graces, honestly, was having like my 2 kids, because like you just see so many like terrible things. Like, you're just like desensitized to everything. And I think like me having to force myself now to like act happy at home and like play with my kids and be excited. Like, you can't just be like a dad with no emotion. It doesn't work
Right.
like that. Like,
Fucking robot.
yeah, it won't exactly. Yeah, I'll get home and like your kids bombard you right away, and like right away I'll be like, you know, just hold on. And then it's like I gotta collect myself. I'm like, you gotta act excited, man.
Gotta
Like,
switch modes.
yeah, you have to. You
Yeah,
have to. So
yeah.
no, that's been a really good mental exercise. for me
Jesus,
working on
dude.
that
I didn't
stuff.
even. Yeah, that's such a good point. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we all do it as parents, but I couldn't imagine from your standpoint, like,
Oh yeah.
the stuff you have to turn off to be able to just be normal with your family has got to be crazy.
Well, I mean, it's crazy. Like, even like July 23rd when that happened back in 2023,
Yeah.
like watching, because I was Jake's like training sergeant, watching your
Damn.
recruit like get scooped up off the ground, and, like blood coming out of him and shit, and then you got to go home and like it's the worst day of your life, but then you got to be there for your kids, man. Like, you can't just
that's tough.
like, you got to take your time and like go do whatever you need to do and like, you know, cool off a little bit, but no, you got to take care of the kids.
I suppose your wife is well versed in catering to that with you too, huh?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's done an excellent job. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's been way more patient with me than I
I can
deserve, 'cause,
imagine.
Yeah, there's times I'm like, I'll literally just hand her the kids. I'm like, I need to go for a drive. Like, I just need silence for like 30, 40 minutes. And then, just come back, reset, and good to go.
Yeah.
damn, that's crazy. I couldn't imagine, man, because there's stuff that happens in my job, and it's so minuscule compared to your job, but that shit just follows me home. And dude, it's like World War fucking III in my house
Yeah.
with my 2 little shits.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here like, fuck.
Yeah.
And it's hard to just not freak out. You know what I mean? But
100%.
I couldn't imagine you guys having to fucking see dead bodies and kids and all that shit. That just
Losing fellow officers, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah,
that's
man,
tough.
that's
man.
gotta
That's
fucking
tough.
no wonder. Like, what do you do to level yourself out?
Honestly, like, it's only gotten to the point like working out's about the only thing that, like, when I get into my super like low spots or just like the spots I can't get out of, like fitness is just whatever.
Yeah.
Like, there's days like you probably see me on Metroflex, I'll be on the treadmill for like 2 hours just like burning myself out because like I can't get out of the hole, and it's like that's the only thing. Like, I just work myself on the ground until like I'm tired, and then like you snap out of it, you know.
Yeah.
Your body just doesn't have the energy to be like crabby and tired and whatever anymore. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird to think like it's what I assume is that it's more like an emotionless feeling that you have rather than like a it's you. So you actually have to turn it on when you get home. Like it's like you're processing your day in this state where you're just not emotionless, because that's not what cops are. I would say you're at this level where you can address
hardened.
things with just
You have to be hardened.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard to find the words that doesn't make you sound like you have something that you're missing that you
Like
should
a zombie.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's weird, and then you just have to go home and turn all those emotions back on and feel happiness and and excitement and joy and just all that fun that you got to have with your kids, which is great.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
and one thing I've definitely been trying to work on too is just it was kind of funny. We talked about like how people talk about like problems or what's in the news, and you just like don't really care. It's trying to like really work on those general conversations with like friends or like in-laws or whatever. Like they want to complain about stuff, and it's like, your problems ain't shit, man. Like you just want to like freak out. And I find myself getting annoyed, and it's like it's been a mental exercise, like trying to get better to like invest and actually care about like
show
we go to these
grace.
small gatherings and people are talking about their stuff and drama. Like I listen to drama and like hate and all that crap all day. Like I don't want to, but it also just to be human and have conversations, you got to learn how to.
Yeah.
One thing I hate the most is complaining about work, especially from my wife. Like, and I love her to death. But like, I can't. I'm like, dude, you're telling me only negative things about your job and your day to day. You can't come at me first thing that we talk about when we see each other in the day, other than in the morning, with negativity. Like that just makes me angry. I'm like, just pisses me off. Just that, I'm like, stop. No, it's just frustrating. And I tell her that, and she's like, I get it 100%. If I came and did the same thing to her, it would stress her out. So it's like, I don't do anything as hard as you do, and in my day, but that the negativity just doesn't help. It makes you feel worse, if anything. So,
and those are the cops like I try to avoid. If you're gonna be negative all day, like I already have enough trouble like trying to act like super happy all the time. Like I can't. I just remove myself. Like I'll have to be quiet, or I'm gonna be happy with you. Like it's a mindset. Like
definitely,
I'm gonna make myself happy today. It's gonna be fine. Like you just got to work through that stuff. But yeah, all those only negative Nancy people. No, I can't be around that. No.
Yeah, right.
So on a positive note, and talking about your family, you have a small business here in town, right? We could plug that a little bit. What do you do exactly?
So yeah, my wife pretty much runs it. So it's we rock the Spectrum, North Dakota. So it's like an indoor kids play space / gym. We have different equipment. It's for all kids, but we have different like sensory equipment geared more towards kids with autism and just different sensory needs and stuff. So yeah, I pretty much I'm an employee, just donates my time. I don't take no paycheck, nothing from it. My wife still hasn't either. We just it was kind of always her dream. We were gonna open that back in 2020, but then when COVID hit, it was like, dang man. So we waited a little bit, and it's kind of been more her thing, and I'm just like supporting, helping with logistics. I go help clean sometimes after work, and
that's awesome.
That's off of 25th, right?
Yeah, 25th Street South and 32nd Avenue South. Yeah.
Okay. You guys opened like year and a half ago.
Yeah,
then?
it's been about a year and a half. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
How's it been going?
It's been good. Yeah, it's just been it's been a big adjustment for her, just learning how to run a business, and then you're putting 12, 14 hours a day into your business, and plus raising
start
kids.
Wearing all these new hats you never thought you were going to have to wear even.
Yeah, it's been interesting, but she's done a really good job just reaching out, making community partners, and just making people want to be there. And she does a great job. She's super proactive with it. So
do you have kids that are autistic, or is this just something you and her are passionate about? Or
so our kids aren't autistic, but when we both, before I even became a cop, I worked for CCRI in Moorhead for 5 years. So creative care for reaching independence. And one of the needs we saw, like our clients, they'd be stimming or having behaviors, different things. And like we'd be at these places, and like people would like ask you to leave. Yeah. And it was like, dang, like that's tough. And like trying to explain that to them when they're in that space, like they're not doing anything wrong, like they can't help it. So when we when we found this franchise, she was really excited about it. And she was kind of explaining to me everything she wanted to do with it. And it was really inspiring, like how much work she wanted to put into it. So I was like, I'll support the dream, whatever you want to do.
That's
Open
awesome.
it up. Yeah.
What age of kids like would you say it's best for? I guess I know obviously any kid can go.
Yeah. I'd say it's more geared like top range 7, like 12 is the oldest we take, and then different clients who are like a little bit older that have autism or just sensory issues, they can also come as well. So
yeah, I know there's not a ton of places where like, especially younger kids like that 2-3 years old, where they're walking around and stuff, but they're not obviously as capable as other kids. So it's like they need a spot to burn off some energy.
Oh yeah, that's our main clientele is like that 1.5 to 5. Like kids can just run around, go just be crazy on everything. So that's cool. It's a good time. Yeah. Oh, thanks for asking about that. I appreciate that.
Sure. That's cool.
Got to plug that at least.
Yeah,
man.
No, thank you.
My godson is autistic. autistic. So I'm pretty sure that they've gone there. I'm not, if I'm not mistaken, but yeah, bro, it's crazy. Like how smart this kid is.
Yes.
Like the people look at autism as just being like, oh, they're just kind of not all the way there. It's like, no, it's a whole different level that I don't think we can even comprehend. I mean, he's reading in different languages and stuff. Like he's got his own intrigue with things. I mean, I think I'm going to mess up how old he is, but he's like under 5, I believe. Mm-hmm. And just like, you can tell he's going to have some kind of genius potential or like a savant of some sort, because he does and says things that just blow your mind all the time. Yeah. And he's super funny. Like my brother Lobes is like really hilarious. Is his dad. And he just has this funny personality. Well, his son has it naturally too. I'll tell a quick funny story. So they were in Minneapolis. They took them out to the cities to have some fun, at like, what is it out there? Legoland or something like that. And anyway, they were playing out there, and he said they were at a hotel and they were in an elevator, and his son's just always reading stuff, but you never know what he's thinking. And he said he was just reading all the signs in the elevator, and all of a sudden he's like, yes, smoking. Because he read a no smoking sign in the elevator, and he's just like, yes, smoking.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, man. They're just smart, man. And they do things their own way, though. Like we can't comprehend is all.
It's been amazing. Nuts. Like just seeing like kids that can be in their space. Like it's been so much fun. Yeah. Like there was another.
It's intriguing to watch them. Yeah.
There's another 4 to 5-year-old kid. He had taught himself Russian. Yeah, we bought him like a puzzle, and like he could figure out like all the numbers, letters. Yeah, then awesome. There's another kid that points to every car in the parking lot. They know the year, the make, the model. It's insane.
God,
like,
that's so.
It's so cool.
It's the coolest thing in the world. It is.
There's a kid that I know. I won't say where he's from, but one of the schools scored like a freaking 98 on the ASVAB.
Damn.
Yeah, like almost a perfect score on the ASVAB.
That's crazy.
And he's just very autistic, but clearly a genius.
Oh yeah.
I just feel like that those people, like God made us in a certain way. We can't all be perfect, and they are almost perfect, and they're just borderline geniuses.
Yeah. It's like how they say, like when someone's so smart, they can't function in layman's terms like we do.
100%.
You know what I mean? They're above it. They don't even know how to comprehend. Like to them, we're the dumb ones, And it's just like, it's such a crazy thing to think about, because there's just so much intelligence in there, living in their own world. It's the coolest thing ever. I've never been around, autism or had family members until my godson was born, and he seemed just like a regular kid, growing up as a toddler and stuff. But then he was really slow to like picking up words and speech and talking and stuff. And so then they started to investigate, and, like, he's a little behind in speech, and whatnot. And then before you know it, he diagnosed full blown autism, and now he's got it all. You could see it. It's in him, but he's not dumb by any means. No. He's absolutely genius. It's crazy.
And you get him the right support and the right, programs, and you just watch kids flourish. It's pretty cool. So.
Yeah, man. I've been dabbling a lot in like the carnivore world as far as like nutrition goes. Yeah. And they're doing a lot of research right now with carnivore and autism. It's actually reversing like a lot of autism in people, like especially what do they call them, nonverbal autistic, like taking carbs and processed foods out of their diet, which is really hard to do with an autistic. I mean, they want junk food. They just want things that stimulate, But if you could get them to do it, like a lot of them have gone from being nonverbal to verbal by just eating meat only, high fat meat, because the fat, the cholesterol feeds the brain, and it fixes things up that are going on up there for them, and so they become verbal. And there's an adult that recently did it, who now he can tell the story of what it's like to be autistic, what goes on in his mind, what he's thinking, what he's trying to communicate. He can now verbally communicate it because he's not eating carbs anymore, essentially. But if he eats carbs, he becomes nonverbal for a few days again.
That's wild.
It's the weirdest thing ever, but there's a lot of research going on around it right now, and that could be some pretty crazy breakthrough stuff. And then it also just kind of attributes to the idea that our food is poisoning the shit out of us, man.
100%.
Like big time.
Yeah. Well, you guys saw, I don't know if you guys saw that clip with RFK freaking out on that Rose DeLauro, old bitch with the purple hair. Yeah. So she was saying like, been trying to get food dyes out of the food in the last 20 years. And RFK freaked out, and he's like, well, I just did it in 100 days. Can't you give me credit? Yeah. Like, these people could have done that a long time ago.
They're not trying.
But they chose not to. Yeah. Because they're getting paid by, the big food, what do you call it? Food.
It's tobacco.
Or whatever.
Tobacco bought all the food companies. Big Tobacco bought all the food companies, and now that's why our food is So poisoned and addictive, you know, who made the most addictive thing in the world besides the tobacco company, right? And so they bought all the food companies out, like the big brand companies. They own them all now. And then they hired all the nutritional scientists to come in and make our food more addictive, like they did their cigarettes. And, you know, because we had this big epidemic, you know, I think it was like the 50s, 60s, and 70s, people were smoking like crazy. And then 80s and 90s, we started to learn how bad it was. And so there's a big drop in the number of smokers now. And so they were like, well, we've got billions and billions of dollars.
Prescribe freaking cigarettes. Like, here,
doctors used to smoke cigarettes in the office while they were visiting.
Like, everybody's smoking ciggies.
So they lost their poison. And so what they do, they bought up all the food industry, and now everyone's having all these issues, you know, chronic illnesses and diseases based off of the food that we're eating. And our food compared to the rest of the world is way worse.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you could get the same bag of, you know, Doritos in America and in Europe, and they have like 100 less ingredients.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Their McDonald's over there is way better and healthier than ours is, because they're eating more whole foods, more natural sources, organic foods. You know, here everything's poisonous because it's all owned by big tobacco.
Well, yeah. It's funny, though, even like how people like just in your normal life, like press you on that stuff, though. Because I preach to my kids all day, like, man, you guys need to be like eating meat, fruit, vegetables. Like, my daughter will eat like a sandwich and she's like, it's healthy. I'm like, no, that bread and shit's like not good for you. Like, you need to be eating what's good for you. And then like my kids will point stuff out and they're like, oh, that's junk food. And then like everyone's like, what do you tell your kids? And I'm like, I want them to live, man. Like,
my kids are telling everyone that vegetables are trying to kill them because I've done some serious research on this stuff, just becoming carnivore or not. Man, the oxalates and all the carcinogens within vegetables, they're not actually good for us at all. They're destroying people like crazy. So yeah, it's bad, man.
Yeah,
it's why innately as a kid you hated vegetables and had to be forced to like them and told they were good for you, and then you finally just started eating them out of habit. But naturally we knew they weren't good for us and we didn't want them until we were forced.
We do a lot of fruit and meat. That's how my kids make it through all the time.
Yeah, so. Fruit's not so bad either. It's still like a seed.
I never really liked vegetables.
I've never been a vegetables fan, but like I'll do like carrots and stuff. But
that's the thing. Any like leafy green vegetable is always given me like a really airy stomach. Not necessarily have to fart, but it just makes me feel bloated in general.
Yeah. Well, it's the fiber too. You know, what fiber does is it steals all the nutrients from your food and then dumps it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're not healthy. You're not getting nutrients even when you are eating meat, you know?
The only time I ate vegetables was on prep when I was really hungry.
You didn't have nothing else to eat. And they're like, you can eat as much as you want.
Basically why I do it now is just to add it to the food that I'm already eating. It's like,
imagine how satiated if you just ate more meat.
Exactly.
Fatty cuts of meat, though. It's like the lean meat epidemic is hurting people. Look at the fitness industry as a whole. Like, especially women, they have all these hormone issues, all these, you know, gut biome problems and shit now. And they're having, it's coming out in their pores. And I mean, they look fit, but they're the most unhealthy human specimens you could possibly be with a fit body. And it's because they eat lean meat only. And the fat is the medicine. You're supposed to be eating fatty cuts of meat. It feeds your brain, feeds your, the high cholesterol. They've proven that, low cholesterol is a myth. More people are dying of heart disease with low cholesterol than those who have high cholesterol. And it's because you need fat meat. You're eating lean meat was a trap. It was a total trick. People are, there's a book called Eat Fat, Get Thin. It talks about when you eat fat meat, it goes into your body as nutrients and you're not dumping it out all the time. And so you naturally will just lose weight. You'll lean out, you'll cut body fat because your body's not trying to store any of it. And you're living off of ketones essentially, which is, your stored fat energy. So it just burns all the fat off your body. And without even working out, you just become fit.
Yeah.
You get into shape eating fatty cuts of meat. So this whole fitness, epidemic with everyone eating these lean, non-fat, zero fat everything and lean meats, man, it's just making people unhealthy. Everyone looks great, but they're very unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And I suppose half that too is like people when they mix like the fatty meat with a lot of carbs.
Well, yeah.
Issues, exactly.
Yeah, you're not supposed to eat all the other stuff with it. Yeah.
That's why people just crucify the fat.
Well, that's how they claimed meat was bad.
Yeah.
they it was causing heart diseases because they considered pizza and spaghetti and all that stuff to be meat, and they didn't take into account the sugars and the carbohydrates. They just said, oh, pizza has meat on it, so meat is bad for you. Because if people who have been eating pizza for the last 3 years are all sick and overweight.
Imagine that.
There's tons of people that have done studies that show like your blood sugar spike after eating carbs is high, and then it's even higher when you add a lot of protein on top of the carbs.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's obviously not good.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
But one thing I was interested in when you first sat down, one of the main things you said was you want to be better at parenting. And then we got into the whole talk about why the world is turning into what it is now with young people especially. And one thing I always like to point out whenever we bring that up is how parents, I think, since really the 70s have only gotten worse at being parents. With the bringing up of technology, especially, kids are only adopting it because their parents do. So in reality, like, I feel like people like yourself and your wife, where you guys are really focusing on trying to be better parents, is super important nowadays, especially because we have so many parents that either can't do it or won't do it, and they have kids still. So it's really unfortunate because we're going to run into the situation where we're just going to get overpowered with people who don't know what right from wrong is or don't want to. So
it's our generation of people, like parents, they want to be best friends to their kids.
Yeah, you can't.
You know, like they were like, oh, I'm not going to be like my parents. I'm going to be cool with my kids. They're going to think I'm cool and I'm going to be their buddy. And that just does not work, bro.
No, that's exactly, and it's shown over the past lot of time. It's only gotten worse, really.
You have to take the good with the bad. So I just saw a recent article that says that our generation is the highest generation of parents that actually spend time with their kids the most, that they're around there the most. But yes, like
staring at their phones though.
But when you introduce technology into that, that's where the bad comes in.
Yeah.
And then if you're, becoming the best friend and not disciplining your kids like you're supposed to, that also becomes the bad. But I guess the good thing is that these kids are being raised with both parents, that's a good thing.
Yeah. I definitely think that is useful, but I also think that, I guess, and this sounds wrong for a lot of reasons, I'm sure, and people might disagree, but having a man that does manly things,
man's man,
and not necessarily like toxic masculinity or anything like that, but somebody who shows
there's no toxic masculinity.
Yeah,
that doesn't exist.
Someone who shows the values and actions of what a true man does is important in a child's life. And if you're not that and you're a father that's there, unfortunately, you're still doing something wrong. And that sucks to say, because they might be trying, but they can't because they don't know how. So I think if you're there, like I know a lot of kids that I've seen that I just saw for the day, right? I'm like, there's no way your dad is in your life the way he should be. You know what I mean? Just based on how they're acting. And
dude, you see that all the time. You can paint so many examples of different scenarios of kids, people, adults. That doesn't matter, that they grew up without a dad.
Mm-hmm.
You can just tell.
And it's not all of them, obviously, because
you can't say all of them.
Yeah,
I can't say all of them, but I would say a large majority, like every single OnlyFans girl probably doesn't have a relationship with her dad.
Yeah. I mean, you see it with kids a lot
desperate
now, especially like in Fargo, West Fargo specifically, where there's more money and families are together and they're more well off. Maybe their parents work a ton and that's why they have more money, which is fine. But you see their kids and you're like, okay, I get it. Somebody's not spending time with them enough, or when they spend time with them, they're not connecting and creating a quality bond, which is super important.
Yeah. Look at the Asians. The Asians are the highest race that grow up with a whole household.
Yeah.
And that's why they have the most billionaires in the country, or the highest IQs, because that's how they're raised,
Well, then you got to look at the opposite and look at the blacks.
Yeah, but it's true though. That's true.
It's facts.
It's 100% true.
It's facts. Yeah.
I brought that up with Woods a few years ago when he was on the podcast. I said, black people are the number one race that are raised in a broken household, and that's why you have all this crime.
They have the biggest social issues. Yeah. Yep.
You have all this crime. So,
are you black?
Yeah, my dad's black and my mom's white, but yeah, it was the same thing. Like, he did what he did, and he was doing drugs, did all that shit, and he beat the shit out of my mom. So they split and moved up here, and then my stepdad and my grandpa pretty much raised me, and yeah.
See,
But still,
you had a good man step up.
Exactly, he stepped up. Yeah, because if I wouldn't have had that, I don't know how my mom would have done it. She was working like 3 jobs before she met him just to keep 2 of us with food on the table.
It's like kids in your scenario tend to act out because they just don't have that person there. You know,
yeah.
Well, yeah, because with a single parent, when you got to work 2-3 jobs, like you can't be home all the time.
Around,
so no, I get it.
Yeah. No, we talked about it last week too with John and how he came up, and I was questioning why it is that some people turn out to be just fine, if not excellent people, when they go through such crappy lives and or such rough beginnings, I should say, or don't have a dad there, or like those situations where maybe you have siblings that are not the same as you or doing things that they shouldn't be doing, like addicted to drugs, whatnot. But you turn out regular, I should say, or without those issues. Yeah. And we were just kind of trying to get to the root of that, I guess. And it's very odd, and it makes you feel a little bit like guilty in a way that you can't provide that for your siblings. I don't know if you have any siblings or not.
I got a bunch of siblings. Yeah.
I got a lot of siblings too. And
I see a common thing here. What's going on here?
I got a good amount of siblings.
And sometimes it makes you feel a little guilty. Not a lot. I mean, but like you're just like, I feel as though I want to be able to provide that for especially my younger siblings, which I still can. And I can be that. And my little brother asked me the other day, he said, why is it that you like working out so much still, even though you're not bodybuilding or anything like that? And I said, dude, I do this so that my nephews and nieces look up to me. They look at me like my nephew looks at me and he's like, dude, flex your biceps. Flex your bicep. We were at his baseball game the other day. He was like, flex your bicep. I was like, I'm not doing that. We're in public, dude. It just looks weird. And so
that's awesome.
I said, I just want to
do it though. You can't say no, bro.
I was like, dude, I just want to be that person that people look up to, especially you guys, my little sister, my nephews and nieces, like I said. And I don't want to break down by the time I'm 35,
Oh, exactly.
That's the biggest thing. And I feel as though I can still provide that for them, even though they're older.
Oh, yeah.
And we had our dad in our lives. It's just they were with their mom, and we have different moms, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
no, I got you.
You have 2 girls, right?
Yeah. Yep. My oldest daughter's 7. My youngest is 3.5. Yeah.
See, I have 2 girls and 3 boys, but I feel like it's harder on you as a father to be a good dad to your girls and be a role model. Like my sons, it's pretty easy to make them into a man. You just got to be, tough love and be strict with them and teach them discipline and respect and stuff. But with my daughters, I feel like they're paying attention to me as a person, how I am, how I move, how I operate, the way I treat my wife, like all these different details that I don't think my sons really give a rat's ass about. You know what I mean? Especially now they're all teenagers. So it's like, it almost feels like it's more pressure to have daughters and be a man, because you have to be very careful in the kind of man you are, because they'll correlate that with the man they're looking for in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the tough part is like, I still want to raise my girls. Like, you need to be, it's a tough dynamic. You need to be strong and be able to like defend yourself, but also you don't need to be like the man in the relationship, because it's a tough line to ride, because it's just like, I see all these terrible things happen. I'm like, oh, I want my girls to be like capable, take care of themselves, but also you can't be an alpha like when you're in a relationship.
Right,
like,
right. You still got to learn how to be a good woman to your man. In the same breath. Yeah.
And it's not like, I'm not saying you're going to be like subservient or anything. It's like, you are a good partner. This is a team.
Yeah.
You both have roles to fill, like things
That's
like
dope.
that. So absolutely.
That's truth, man. That's truth. I get it. My oldest daughter, she'll be 25 this year, and she's just had a baby. She made me a damn grandpa, which I love it though.
Congrats.
I'm happy about
that's awesome.
And her boyfriend's a good dude, and so like I get after her all the time when she's like she doesn't do it seriously. She just has a really bad sense of humor, but she'd be dogging him and like just trying to clown and stuff. And he's just an introverted, like quiet dude, you know?
Yeah, he'd
So
just be like,
yeah, he's just like, ho, ho, you know? And I always have to be like, man, that's not how you're supposed to treat him, you know? Like, I always tell him, like, you don't got to take that shit, bro.
That's funny.
Just because I'm sitting here, you know what I mean? Like, don't let her do you like that.
Yeah.
you just sit here like,
Yeah. It's funny, man.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
It'd be funny. He stands up for himself one time, and then you just
I'm like, hey, boo, sit down.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was gonna say it's just tough too, because like my oldest daughter's adopted, so like I still try to keep her biological parents in her life, but they don't do the greatest job of making good decisions. So it's like trying to find that cutoff and still being sensitive. She has feelings to that, but at the same time, like it's like,
Yeah, you got.
I'm dad, your mom's mom. Like we're gonna raise you. Like they'll come and go as they please whenever they decide to. But yeah.
Do you have a relationship with, like, are they related to you?
No, not at all.
Okay. Nope. I was like, but so you went through an agency and like an adoption agency and got your first daughter?
No, so my wife and I did foster care for a couple of years, and then we ended up getting this girl. She's like one of 9 siblings. There's a couple families like in between Fargo and Bismarck that pretty much have all the siblings, and we ended up adopting her, and we just try to keep her in contact with her siblings.
I was gonna say that's awesome.
What made you want to do fostering?
So growing up, gosh, I'm trying to remember how early it was. My mom did foster care. We had like 40 some kids through our house, growing up. Yeah. So, you just learn to like find people's perspectives from where they come from in life. Cause it's a lot of the same shit, like broken homes, parents beating the shit out of you, drugs, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I just kind of definitely want to do that. Cause like, even though I don't have a whole lot, like I can still help kids along the way. And
that's
luckily
really
it just
awesome.
worked out. So it was cool.
Oh yeah.
When did you guys adopt her?
We adopted her in 2021?
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you start fostering her?
Oh, 2 years before that. So 2019.
So she's probably like just
she was 2 when she came to us. Yeah.
okay.
This was pretty public. I think I remember you posting about it, huh?
It was crazy. Okay. Yeah, I went from having no kids to we adopted her, and then my daughter was born.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
I do recall that.
Oh, yeah, like a week later. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I went from no kids to kids.
How was the adoption process?
Dude, it was terrible.
I heard it's a nightmare.
Like that shit fucking broke me. Like, I'm not gonna divulge whatever kind of race she is, but for certain kids in different races or like different laws when it comes to like family rules. So we did the whole background. They do like a family search before you adopt kids out. So they go to they send contacts. They call every single one of their family members they can reach out to and be like, do you want this kid before it goes up for adoption? So that time had passed, but with this certain race of kids and the laws that are placed in, basically any family member at any time come forward, like till you sign that piece of paper. And
white kids.
Huh?
White kids.
No. Unfortunately not. No, definitely not white kids. No.
Wait a minute. I'm confused. Hold on. Say that sentence
So,
again.
okay, there's different laws in place. I shouldn't say all races. So my daughter's Native.
Okay.
And for Native Americans, just because of how many Native American kids have been taken away, they made it's basically like a rule.
It's almost like a protection thing.
Yeah, it's a protection thing.
Okay,
so they allow any family member to step forward, like regardless, until basically you sign that piece of paper.
Okay.
With other kids, it's like it's either 30 or 60 days they do the family search for. And once they get no response, then that is closed and it can't be reversed at all.
Okay.
So yeah, me and my wife were like a week or two out from finalizing the adoption. All of a sudden, some family member just comes forward and says like, yeah, I'm taking her. And then
That sucks.
so you raise a kid for 2 years and then you got someone telling so you got someone telling you, yeah, they're leaving your house like next weekend. So
And they never never came, or
so we took her. I wanted to do one last vacation with her, so we went to Florida, came back. We got all her stuff moved over and we're ready for the drop off, and then the family member was all of a sudden like, no, I don't want her. Like, so yeah, and then that led to a whole bunch of behaviors for months and shit, because she was mad at us, like even as like, as a freaking 3-year-old or whatever, she's telling me like, you're leaving me. Like she was pissed about it. Like kids know that stuff.
God.
So yeah, we had to deal with that and like rebuild the trust again, but no, it's been all good. So
Jesus,
man, I don't know if this is gonna do you any favors in keeping the women off the thirst trap with you, man.
Yeah, totally.
They're just sitting. They're gonna be watching. It's like,
No.
no.
Nope, I'm set in my ways, man. My kids are my priority.
That's
so
beautiful,
no.
bro. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've actually heard a lot of horror stories about adoption.
Yeah, it's tough, dude. It's grueling. Like
I've heard that.
yeah,
Somebody that I know, tried to adopt
Mhm.
a kid, and the parents ended up taking the kid back. Or
Yep.
yeah,
Yep, that can happen too. Yeah,
Yep.
it's tough too, and just like North Dakota doesn't have like open adoptions, like they're automatically closed, but you can decide if you're gonna keep parents around. But I still want her to know like where she's from. But at the same time, you just got to kind of, once it's hurting her development and her mental well being, that's where you gotta kind of cut it off.
Yeah.
So that's what we kind of did this last year. So
Yeah, that's tough.
wow.
yeah.
But with that many siblings, I mean, that's just important to
Oh yeah,
be able
100%.
to be around them.
Okay, now I'm curious.
What's
So
up?
you adopted in 2021.
Yeah.
And then your second daughter was born in
My oldest, I believe we adopted her October 2nd, 2021. And then my oldest was born November 1st, 2021.
dude, I'm telling you, the Lord works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like we
It's
tried for
so
kids for like
fucking
5
weird.
years.
Dude,
Yeah.
same thing happened to my boss.
Oh yeah.
This story.
Mhm.
The parents took the kid away and it just fucking crushed him, right?
Yeah.
And then after that, pregnant. Now they have 5 kids.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's too
Yeah,
many.
it's crazy. But that is fucking way too many.
I
They
can
have
only deal with
triplets,
2.
dude.
I love my
They have
kids. I can only deal with
triplets.
2. God.
They got triplets?
Yeah, fucking triplets.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and then my story, we had IVF,
Yeah. Yep.
and then a year and a half later, 2.5 years later, Rhea's born naturally.
Isn't that crazy?
It's
It's
so
wild.
strange. It's
Yeah.
so strange.
Yeah. Because and that's part of like you
They're
know,
18 months. They're 18 months apart. Sorry.
yeah, and that stuff. I mean, it strains your relationship. It's not easy when you're constantly working on having kids and doing that stuff, and things ain't working. Like, yeah, that just adds stress to everything. So,
Oh my God, dude. Yeah, it was tough too because I wanted to compete, in 2020,
Yeah.
my last competition, and we ended up having a chemical, what do you call it? Fucking loss. What do you call it?
I don't know. Talking to the wrong guy.
Oh, when
Miscarriage?
they lose miscarriage. It's called like a chemical miscarriage or something
Oh.
like that, where it something happens in the body. Right? She was pregnant. She was like 3 weeks into it or something like that, and then lost it. Right? And when that happened, dude, I did not take it well.
yeah,
I did not take it well.
That was the first time?
Yep. Dude, I was just like, I think I told you, like, oh yeah, Kate's pregnant, and we were like all geeked out and everything. And then sure enough, fucking a couple weeks later, boom. Yeah. And so, and then we went through the IVF process and ended up having Roman, and then 18 months later, Rhea was born. So
that's awesome.
yeah, it's fucking crazy how that works, man. So crazy. Are you guys gonna have another one, or are you good at 2?
No, bro, I can only handle 2. No,
Same.
Oh man,
Yeah.
It's been a crazy journey, and I just like what we're doing now. So, I mean, maybe eventually when the girls get older, I can maybe see us doing foster care again and stuff. But yeah,
That's awesome.
That would be cool.
yeah.
John, what do you think? 2?
Yeah, I would have liked to. The unfortunate thing about having 3 baby mamas is they want their own kids too. And my 4th Parker I adopted him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was really easy for me to do because I grew up without a dad, or I longed for my dad. At least, he was in and out. But so I didn't want Parker to not have a dad. His dad was just a loser, and I remember we somehow contacted him through the courts when I was going to try to adopt him, and just said, hey, like,
Wait a minute.
is this?
Hold on. I thought Parker was yours.
No, I adopted him.
I thought
Parker's black.
Kayla adopted him.
Mm-mm.
Did you guys adopt him together? Or
No, she had him already when I met her. He was like a year old, barely, or almost a year old when I met her. And his dad was a non-participant in his life. And I think I met him like one time at Parker's like first birthday or something.
But I was close. When he adopted him.
Yeah. Kayla is his mom. Or his real mom. Yeah.
Dude, this is the first time I heard this.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Learning
here,
new
let me tell you the story. So anyway, so we reached out to him, and like, we had to get like him to sign over basically his custodial rights or whatever. And we were just like, man, this is going to be hellacious because he's a junkie. And somehow we got in touch with him, and he ended up calling Kayla, and he's like, I just got this letter. What's this all about? And she put him on the phone with me, and I was just like, I'm trying to adopt Parker. I'm trying to give him a good life and have an active dad in his life, you know? And he was just like, yeah, whatever, man. I'll sign the stupid papers and send him over. And it was a done deal. He didn't even think about it.
Wow.
See, it was meant to be, man.
Yeah, for sure.
No, it's awesome. You stepped up and did that.
Yeah, so that was, and then, you know, she wanted one
Yeah.
that was ours together as well. So then we had my daughter. So that was my fifth, and no more for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I had to prove I was Mexican, though, you know?
I feel retarded.
It's confusing.
Well, it's hard to keep track of you guys. I
Yeah.
mean, you got all these freaking.
What do you mean, you people?
Yeah, all you
mean.
got your siblings and kids and jeez. Wow.
Yep. So let's bring this closer to where you're at today now. And so you were a detective.
Yep.
After you were essentially on the beat, is that what you guys still call it, or is that old school?
Yeah. So we got beats. Yeah, I was a police officer for, I think it was like 5.5 years, and I was a detective for 1.5 years, and then I've been a sergeant for just under 4 years. So.
Okay. And still actively you work with SWAT as well.
Yeah, I've been on SWAT for the last 8 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have any big cases as a detective?
No.
I
was a property detective. None of mine were crazy. I'd say the only big one that got like notoriety was that guy that put that axe through Senator Hoven's office window. Yeah. I worked with the FBI, and we went and picked him up. So, yeah.
Interesting.
How long did it take for you to catch him?
Oh, dude, it was pretty quick. Yeah.
Because you were on it.
Exactly. No, I just just reviewed some things and was able to track them down.
So is that only when like property is like destroyed and stuff? Does that?
Yeah, so
when
like
you're
our
involved?
property detectives, it's like fraud, embezzlement.
Okay, so how about that Epic? The people that own
Water
Epic,
park.
that fucking the water park that
Oh yeah.
that
So
guy took off, right?
I think the feds have that one.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
that's not one of ours. Yeah.
Because it was like multi.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was multi-state.
It was,
Yeah. No.
And he also took a lot of money from,
Yeah,
from the
it was
state.
tons.
Ton of money.
Yeah.
Well, I know guys that are in like the real estate business, like big business like that,
Mhm.
who are like pissed because they said like it is almost impossible to get these big, you know, multi-million-dollar loans right now in North Dakota because that guy
Yeah.
ruined it for everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you defraud your investors for
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands, almost millions, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nuts.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
It'd be tough to be
Yeah.
with that guy.
How about SWAT? Did you get any cool calls yet with SWAT?
Dude, SWAT's been awesome. Like,
Is it?
That's pretty much the reason I've stayed like as long as I have.
Fun stuff.
I love it, man. Kind of just like reshape my purpose. Like, you start this job and you want to help people, then you realize like you really can't help a lot of people doing this job. Like, sometimes you get there in the moment, but like, I kind of had to reshape my why. And then like, when I just kept seeing these like just really predatorial, terrible people, and I was like, I want to go after those people. And then like SWAT just became my thing. Like, I love it.
That's
I
awesome.
love it. No, some of the fun call outs, like, dude, it's always the ones like your phone rings in the middle of the night when you're dead asleep and you just got to go and you get your brief on the way in the Bearcat and all of a sudden we're rolling, man. Like, it's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, that's badass.
How often do you guys train?
We train every other week. We have 1 9-hour training day, and then that's usually like our tactics day, and then we have a 5-hour training day just for firearms.
Do you guys do multi-agency training with it?
Yeah, we'll train with Grand Forks, and then once a year we go down for a full week. It's like we put in like 70 hours in like 4 days, and we do a whole training week, and we'll train with like Ramsey County SWAT. We've trained with a couple other teams down there too. So,
Do you guys have your own glass houses, or where do you guys do that?
typically,
Stuff.
we'll just get like houses that we train in. There's like a lot of buyout or like foreclosure type things that the city starts owning. Then if they're going to knock it down, they'll let us like go in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
so we
cool.
can like destroy stuff inside, work on breaching, work on like actual things that we do in call outs. And then for like shoot house stuff, we do that all down at Camp Ripley. So
Oh, really? You guys go to camp? Huh?
yeah.
Okay.
For your 9-hour day, is that like partial classroom work, partial like field work, or how does that work?
Well, it all depends. It depends on like what the topic is for the day. But yeah, typically it's mostly just getting reps. Like if we're gonna do classroom, it might just be a quick like hour or so refresher, and then you're hitting reps, doing quick debriefs, and making sure you got to get better every time. So
For like your shooting day, the 5-hour one, what does that consist of? It's just like
we just roll straight to the range, and it'll be like kind of like a theme. Like sometimes it might be distance, sometimes it's CQB, sometimes like hostage rescue type shots,
awesome.
officer down type stuff, just all sorts of different tactics
really
we work
cool.
on. So yeah.
So do you train in any kind of like mixed martial arts or other combat stuff like that, aside from just like the training you do at the gym?
So I've taken the last year and a half off because I tore my rotator cuff in my
That's
bicep.
right,
I'm
yeah.
still working on that. But yeah, I've done jiu-jitsu on and off for about 6 years. So I really enjoyed that. I was at Academy of Combat Arts. Oh gosh, this is probably like 10, 11 years ago. I started out there, did some MMA classes there, and then I was over at Fargo BJJ for a couple of years.
Okay.
Enjoyed that. And then I've been down at Peace Garden Grappling.
Yeah, that
feel like
place is
that
blowing
should be-
up.
Dude, I
man.
love it. Yeah.
Everyone's at that
Yeah,
spot
Coach
now.
Bailey's so awesome. Like
Yeah.
I said, it sucks. I had to take a break because after I tore this stuff, my range of motion just kind of sucks in my left shoulder right now. So
Should be a requirement, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
it is. I've always been super passionate about that because I just get frustrated. Like, you go into a job where you're gonna have confrontation, you need to be calm. Everyone who's untrained thinks you can take anyone.
Yeah, right.
Until the first time you get popped in the fucking mouth, and then like reality sets in. That's kind of like what kicked mine off. Like when I took it seriously, it was like one of my first couple months on the job. Like I was out on my own finally. This dude had like a federal pen warrant, and I was like, they said his demographics or whatever. He's like 5'7" and like 130 pounds. Like I'm gonna whoop this dude's ass, whatever. If he like starts fighting. I get to the bar, figure out who it is. I call him over. He's like lying about his name. Then I go to put him in my truck or in my SUV, and right away he just pulls out. He just decks me in the face, like just fucking rocks me. Pulls out a can of pepper spray, just sprays the shit out of me.
Oh,
And I'm like-
damn.
and I'm fighting blind, and he's like whooping my ass, dude. And that was just an eye opener. I was like, if I can't take someone that size, dude, like I thought I could do this shit. That I was completely wrong. So yeah, then I started training jujitsu because I knew it got serious right there. Yeah.
The best videos that I see online with cops is where the guy's like, "Hey, you won't fucking fight me with your hands," and like the perpetrator or whatever, you won't fight me. You're just gonna use your gun, blah blah blah, and then the cop takes his stuff off,
Yeah.
and beats his
Boxes
ass.
him
Dude,
out.
that's so great.
I've seen a couple videos like
I
that with
love
cops,
that.
man.
That's the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, no, and the biggest thing with it too, like not only the confidence, but you being able to like stay calm and think when
Yeah.
things are going sideways. Because you've seen a million cop videos like that, like someone who's never dealt with anything and they all of a sudden
Fucking
go code
acorn
black.
on the
the acorn cop, or like there's a video of like one chick, she's talking to this dude who like needs to go to jail for something, and his mom's like trying to talk to her, and she's in the house by herself, and the guy like literally just shoves her on the ground and says like, "You stop that," and pushes her. She pulls out the gun next to and shoots the mom when the dude comes after her. Like,
Oh shit.
she's just like completely spaced out. So I mean,
The guy that was trying to get his hat on the interstate. You see that one? He
No.
like gets out of his car and the cop
Oh,
pulls
yeah.
up on the
Oh,
right
yeah.
side. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like running after his hat. I think he pulled out his gun, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
He
shot him, didn't
He
he?
did shoot him. I think so.
Yeah.
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 that's crazy. No, it's stuff like that. Like I get their split second decisions and their stress, but I feel like if you're more trained, you're more confident.
Yeah.
You take that extra time to think before.
Also,
you
if you're in shape,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
100%,
out of shape
for sure.
cops are so quick to pull their guns out, and it's just like, whoa, dude, that could have been
older lady
handled
that
differently.
Pulled the gun instead of the
Pulled
taser.
the gun instead of the
Yeah,
taser.
Kim
like,
Potter, I think her name was. Yeah, yeah.
You're telling me like if she was in shape, she knew jujitsu.
Yeah.
She could have folded that guy.
No, and I'm constantly pressing cops on that. Like you got to be in
good.
It
shape
should
to
be
do this
fucking
job.
mandatory.
Yeah.
I know, but that's the thing. Like they don't pay you to work out.
I know.
and that's
what
I'm
that
still-
goes back.
yeah.
Like we gotta fund that
Yeah.
type of training. We have to fund that stuff.
And I tell people get even like out of that mindset though. I'm like, you picked this job, you had to do something. Like you had to do some sort of physical test to get here.
Yeah.
I hate that. Like I tell our recruits that all the time. Like they get through the academy, they get sworn in, they go through the training program, and then cool, you put on 30 pounds next
they
year.
get
You know,
lazy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
insane. I'm like,
We talked about that
Yeah.
with Jason when Jason's on here. It's like,
Mhm.
dude, you guys put your life on the line every day that you go
Yeah.
out. And you honestly, I cannot believe that there's cops that don't want to be in peak performance every single day.
Right.
yeah, it's insane. I think a lot of it too, especially after I got on SWAT and I saw like the repercussions of if you're too slow or you stall or you freeze or you're not making good decisions. Like I know people like, yeah, you don't need all the muscles and shit, but like you need to be in shape enough. Like you go through a stressful situation or you got to run for 200 yards and get into something.
Oh, for sure.
You need to be able to like take that breath and still perform
Yep.
like at
Yeah.
the same exact levels when you're not tired. So
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's huge for me. Cause especially, I mean, your job is to keep the guys to the left and right of you alive. Like
Yep.
I always keep that in my head. Like when the workout starts sucking, I'm like, dude, if I fuck this up and like one of my guys gets killed because I'm too tired or I'm too slow to do this shit, like I can't live with that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I was a teenager, man, we judged if we were going to run from a cop or fight back based on his physical appearance, bro.
Amen.
You know, you get a fat, overweight cop. I'm
Yep.
like, we're just going to fucking run right now.
Yep.
He ain't going to do nothing about it, you know? And we would just take off running, bro, and they wouldn't do nothing about it. It's like, that shouldn't be a thing for cops, though.
No, it shouldn't.
They shouldn't be allowed to be out of shape like that, for sure.
Yeah, we had one guy posted something about like, you give up you forfeit the right to be out of shape once you become a cop. And he was like a heavier dude. I was like, bro, don't even be posting stuff like that. You stop that right now, man.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything that you can tell us about like a significant time or bust that you did on SWAT so far?
Dude, that's one of my most notable ones still that like it really like opened my eyes to like why I train seriously and stuff. We this guy did a couple drive-by shootings like Fargo, Moorhead, whatever. Had him nailed down to this apartment. So we brief at like 3 a.m. We're gonna hit this dude like right at 5. Roll up in the Bearcat. Like I'm first in the stack for once. I'd finally worked up my time to like get towards the front of the stack. And my breacher goes to like we started using explosive charges. We use them. It's very like we've used explosive charges like 4 times. My whole entire career so far, and it's just on like bad dudes who you're probably gonna get shot when you get to the door.
Is it loud? Like a
it's
regular
loud
explosive?
as hell, dude.
I was gonna say at 5 a.m. the neighbors just.
Yeah, no. So we go up to. It's basically just like det cord. It's not like we don't use like C4 or anything like that. And we get the charge set on the door, but like my guy didn't wait. I go to put my foot to like take the slack out of the door so it didn't wiggle, and he fucking pushes it and it wiggles. And all of a sudden I just hear footsteps like, do. What the fuck was that? And I hear like the magazine go in the gun. It just racks. And I was like, yep. And so like I just faced the wall because I'm like totally getting ready to get shot. And my breacher finally got it set because I had to cover him because he's up there.
Yeah.
And we get pulled back and then my other breacher tells us to back up, and like I'm so focused, like I know the rounds are gonna start coming through the wall. I'm just waiting for it. I'm so focused. My breacher's like, "Hey, come back!" And like I'm so zoned in. He's like, "Get back!" And he grabs my shoulder. We get back and like nail it. And like when you hit those charges, like you get the overpressure, the sound, obviously, and then all the fire alarms going off. And you got smoke everywhere. And yeah, I come across the door, and like the dude looks at me, and he has the AR in his hand.
Is he pointing?
Damn.
No, he's not pointing. He's holding it. And that's my biggest thing that I talk about though, like. Because I take care of myself, because I push myself in these trainings, like he's not pointing at me. I'm not going to dump him.
Right.
Like not yet. And he throws it down, runs to the back room, and like we got him called out and stuff. But that was a moment right there where like I have to take my training seriously. Like like if I would have been like extra stressed, extra panicked, not thinking, like that could have gone completely a different way. So
it's crazy because I'm sure like when you were in that moment, things were probably moving pretty like slow in your head.
It is, man. It's crazy. Like people always talk about like movies and shit, like when things slow down. That's exactly how it felt. Like,
but to him, I'm sure he's like,
yeah,
dude.
And that's the biggest thing. Like, you need to know like your body too. Like when you have adrenaline going, like your vision narrows, your heart's pumping. Like you got to learn to breathe through it and like start looking again instead of just getting so locked in on a certain point. So
that's crazy. That's
probably been my favorite. I mean, we've had some fun call outs, but that's probably been like that was one of my most memorable ones, I'd say.
You ever get into any foot chases?
When I was on the street, no, my job now, I just sit behind a desk, man. It's terrible. Okay. Back when I was younger, I'd do foot chases. Yeah, I'm not as fast now, so I can still run for a long distance, but just right out the gate, straight sprint, like, man. The older I get, that gets a little bit harder. So
feel that.
I got tackled when I was 16.
Ooh,
yeah,
nice.
Cody was a bad.
You were running from cops?
Oh yeah.
It
was a minor. I got a minor.
They caught you?
Oh yeah, dude.
You were too drunk?
I was fucked up.
I was like, that doesn't sound right.
He fucking smoked me, man. Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, it's changed so much. Like, we even when I started, it was like we don't chase kids. Like, for minors, like get out of here, go. Yeah. Whoever has the house, like you might be getting a ticket for hosting.
Okay, this is embarrassing, but there's no dogging on these people.
No.
But it was a campus cop.
Yeah.
So we were walking through the parking lot, going to Frying Pan in Wapton. He sees us, hauls ass over to us. We take off running, right? And dude, I'm okay. At this time,
How old were you?
Am drunk, 16.
Wow, that is young. I guess you get it.
I have to shit.
Dude, 2 worst combos. Goddamn.
Yeah. I had this like squirts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to hide when he's in this fucking SUV trying to find us, right? We're hiding like around farm equipment that's outside the NDSCS, campus there. And I'm fucking running around. And I ran across the street and I could hear his fucking car right behind me. And then I cut back and it was February. So there's snow and ice in the ground.
Oh,
Fucking tripped on ice, dude. And he just went boom. Oh, before that, when I was running, I had to shit so bad.
Oh man.
Guess what happened?
you shit your pants when you got
I
tackled.
I let it go while I was running.
In your pants?
Yeah. Yeah. It was either stop and clench up or let it go and keep running.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But then you still got caught though. That's the shit.
Yeah, but I tripped on ice. It's not like I knew I was going to trip on ice.
And none of your buddies got in trouble, or did you?
Yeah, it was me and another guy that got caught.
You were running together?
No, he ended up. This is so embarrassing for him. But when I got caught, he just like walked over to us. He's like, "Hey, come here." He fucking walked over to us. And so we both got a minor.
Oh yeah.
He's like, "Sure, you got it, officer."
And I don't even know why I ran.
The best part was like when he was giving us a ride back to his office, he's like, "Did one of you guys puke?" Did one of you guys puke? I'm like, "Oh no,
That's good.
I think you tackled me in some dog shit."
Oh man. That's crazy.
And then when we get to his office, right? I'm like, "Dude, I gotta go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom and I fucking ditch my drawers in the fucking in the trash. And I'm like wiping out my pants and shit. We go back and I sit down. He gets my information. My dad comes and picks me up. And as we were leaving, like he noticed like this big wet spot, a big wet spot on the chair, and he's like, "Cody, did you puke or something?" And I was like, "No, let's go,
We gotta go, man. We gotta.
Did you tell your buddy in the moment that you shit your pants?
Oh
or
yeah,
no?
dude, yeah.
That's great.
That's
That was a
awesome.
good one.
That's a funny ass story.
That took too long for you to tell us that story. Actually,
I honestly, I don't think I've told a lot of people about that story because
Well, you
like,
just
you
did.
just did, I was gonna
You
say.
told a lot now.
Yeah,
that's gonna be
that was a good one. Yeah, that was
yeah.
a good one.
Any stories from your childhood like that?
Oh man. No, I mean like, yeah, they make you like when you start this job, you gotta put everything in a background packet that you've done. Like, yeah, so I ran from the cops too. When it was like I was 19 years old, we were at a house party in Mayville. Yeah, I took off and like I thought I had him beat, but they were like, I don't know Mayville, so like I just run. My boys stay in the dorms, so I'm like hiding in these bushes, like looking across the street. I don't see anyone. I tried to take off right across the street. He was like parked with his lights off. And he comes speeding up, but no, he just like chewed me out and said like, "You can't be doing that." And then he like got my name and just kicked me loose. But
That's good.
yeah, nothing
You
crazy.
didn't
though,
poop
no.
your pants that time, huh?
No. Plus, I was so scared to get in trouble, dude. Like my mom would beat my ass, dude. Like I was more afraid of my mom than any cop. So, yep.
That's funny.
John, I know you guys.
We could go on for days with my stories, bro. I never shit myself, though. I'll tell you that. Not running from cops or nothing.
No, we're all kids, man. When you're kids, you just make those dumb decisions.
Yeah.
And you learn.
I
from
will
them.
say, I thought I did pretty good. I blew a .29, I think.
God damn.
Yeah.
Holy, that's yeah.
And I was 16, so I was like really small.
That's crazy.
That's wild. Yeah.
At 16, that's not.
Yeah,
you shouldn't
that's
be doing
wild.
that, Cody.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no wonder you shit your pants.
Yeah. I might be exaggerating. It might have not been.
And you tripped. I bet there was no
Honestly,
ice. You probably just tripped on the ground.
Yeah, probably. I know I got fucking when he tackled me, I smacked the snowbank and it was like really hard. Fuck my ear out.
Could imagine.
That's great shit. Well, I think that's good for now. It was a good conversation, Mike. I appreciate you coming on with us, man, and sharing some of your life with us. I think it's awesome you guys got this little gym going and stuff, the Spectrum thing, and I love the way that you like to give back to the community and you've adopted a kid and kind
It's
of
off
built
the
your family
market,
after
ladies.
that. Yeah, definitely off the market, but I think you sound even more appealing now than you ever did just off of visuals. But yeah, man, it's awesome. I appreciate you coming on, talking to us, sharing some of this stuff, and maybe we'll get you back on another time. You get some more action.
Thank you. No, I appreciate you too. Thank you.
Right on. Any last minute things you guys want to throw out?
Oh, thanks for coming, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
Right on. Well, appreciate it, everyone. Thanks for checking us out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the channel. Tell your friends about us. Don't tell your friends about us. Talk good, talk bad. It does not really matter as long as you're talking about us. Peace.